Hey, I'm Chip Foose. We're here at Foose Design, and today I'm going to talk about proportions in design, and let's just call them things that don't belong. Recently, I was asked about how, when I first look at a car that I'm going to build, what comes to mind? And, how do I decide what we're going to change? Well, usually things just jump out at me that I think those don't belong there. And, an example is you look at a Ferrari Testarossa, 1980s Ferrari Testarossa. The front overhang on that car is a city block long, and your ramp angle is you have none. And it's things like that the first time I saw that car, I thought, why would they do that? But, it worked for the design of the car, but it doesn't work to drive the car or enjoy it or not destroy it. And when I'm typically looking at a car, it's things like that jump out. And for this example, I'm going to use a 1970 Plymouth Cuda. We built one for the Metropolis brothers here at Foose Design. And when I first looked at that car, I noticed that it had a long front overhang. It had this box of a door handle on it. And the daylight opening, which is the window, the side window, has a real sharp corner in the back that doesn't go with that beautiful stock top. And those are the things I really wanted to change. I'll go ahead and do a sketch of what I'm talking about and hopefully show you what I am talking about. We'll get a basic proportion of the car here as it is stock. When I talk about proportions, I'm talking about, how long is the wheelbase versus the body and the overhangs, and it's all the surface areas that you look at. Sometimes there might be a surface area that looks out of proportion because it looks larger than it should be on the car. And that's what the front overhang does to me on the 70 Cuda, and also that side glass, the rear corner. That sharp angle, it just looks out of place. And the box of a door handle, you can do something that's much more elegant than that. I don't mean to bag on the Cuda because I absolutely love the 70 Cuda. It is my favorite year. I've had one. I unfortunately sold it to one of my customers because he bugged me for so long about getting it. I finally caved in and sold it to him after we had built the Terracuda. It was an expensive car to build for the Metropolis brothers, and I knew I was never going to be able to spend that kind of money to build a car for myself, so I let mine go because I had the opportunity to do what I really wanted to do to a 70 Cuda, and I love the way their car came out. I'm going to overlay this so I have a clean version of what I want to show you. So this is just a quick sketch, but on a stock 70 Cuda, the things that really jumped out to me that needed to be changed were, and I've got it drawn soft here, there's a very sharp corner right here on that car. Now the 70 Challenger had a soft corner here and a sharp corner in the front, but the Cuda has a beautiful soft corner at the windshield, rolls back, and it's got this sharp corner here. Has a real hard square door handle. And to me, it looks like the car hit a curb at 40 miles an hour and drove that wheel back. You got this long front overhang. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch right over top of this of the subtle changes that I would make to it. So real simply, just by moving that front wheel forward, about 2 inches is all it needs, because you're losing 2 inches here, but gaining 2 inches in the back of it. Pulling that wheel lip forward. You know, if you look at the stock Cuda and you take the proportions of the front fender, where that stock wheel was, the front overhang was just as long as the rest of it. And to me, that whole body, to look balanced, you should have a little more weight in the back of the fender. So by bringing it forward, you got a shorter front overhang and longer behind that wheel. And when you bring the car down, you know, typically a designer will take this A-pillar and go right to the center line of that front wheel. So pulling that wheel forward really helps to balance the car out. And you don't have that really long overhang, so your ramp angle is much more improved. Now on the door handle itself, on the Metropolis Brothers, we got rid of it completely. Now in 1969, Jaguar had a beautiful door handle that I've used on several cars. If we'd have put a door handle on that car, I would have used that door handle. On this car, we completely got rid of it. But to me, making that door handle have the same proportions as the body style itself, you look at this body, it's a long, thin shape. By putting a thin, long door handle, to me, they work together. That square doesn't go with this shape of a body. Now in the back, just softening that daylight opening or that back window really helped to balance the shape of the top to work with that. They did it on the Challenger, like I said, but on the Cuda, they kept that one really square. I know it differentiated the two cars, but I think they should have, on the Cuda, softened both of them. Simple little things, but really made a big difference on that car. You know, you may be wondering, how did we actually make that top soft? It was very simple. The A-pillar is a separate molding from the drip rail, and I wanted that chrome trim to come around and look stock. So I took a left and a right front A-pillar molding, and we actually flipped them from side to side. So the left is on the right and the right is on the left, and we softened the back and then shortened them to actually just come down to the end of the body, and then re-rolled that stainless molding a little bit and did the sheet metal work that it took to actually put that on there. But it was a real simple fix. And to me, it just really helped to make that car look so much more elegant. You know that the door handle isn't a whole lot of work, but when it comes to the front wheels and moving those 2 inches forward, that is a lot of work. But when we built that car, we actually had Art Morrison build a complete chassis for the car. And I told them then, go ahead and put all the front suspension 2 inches forward. So when we got the chassis here and we dropped it underneath the car, the wheels were already pushed forward. Then we just simply cut up, forward, and down on the front wheel well, pull that forward, re-weld it, and then make a new piece to weld into the back. It's really simple. We made a lot of modifications to the 70 Cuda, but from the second I saw it, those three things really jumped out, and I knew I wanted to address them. And it's not that I'm making changes to make changes. I'm making the changes to make it better. I don't want people to look at the car and say, wow, they did this and this. I want them to look at the car and think, why is that car so much better than I remember it? And then they discover what we actually did.